It's time now for Countywide, a special presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. Join Paul David and Jenn Cohen as they talk with our community's leaders, newsmakers, and people in the know. You'll hear about the hot topics that affect all our lives in Yavapai County. And now, here's today's Countywide.
Hello and welcome to Countywide. I'm your host, Jenn Cohen. Thank you so much for joining us. Today we're talking about the Animal Guardian Network. It is a healing ranch and farm sanctuary. We have Carrie Singer. She is the founder and the executive director. You'll want to go to animalguardiannetwork.org. You can check them out on Facebook. You can check them out on Twitter. A really wonderful organization. Welcome to the Verde Valley.
Thank you.
Yes. How long have you been here now?
We've been here about 4 weeks.
4 weeks, right, because you were in Phoenix.
We were Phoenix Cave Creek area.
Phoenix Cave Creek area. What made you decide to move to Verde Valley?
More enrichment, better lifestyle for our animals, definitely more room. We moved from an 1.25 acre facility to 21 acres on the Verde River.
Wow. Well, that's huge. Well, see, that's why we all live in the Verde Valley. We know. So, welcome. Yeah. Glad you joined us. Now, tell us about the Animal Guardian Network, because it's different. You know, when we think of animal rescues, you know, we think of, you know, there's a lot of wonderful rescues out there that take in strays or abused animals, rehabilitate them. They go to a good home. You know, they're young or they're puppies or they're whatever, and they work with it and they go. But you're a very different type of sanctuary.
We're Care for Life, so rescue is a function of what we do, but we're definitely not a rescue. We're a sanctuary, and we specialize in senior, special needs, and hospice. So we're looking at the ones that have the least chance of being saved or helped, which, of course, is hospice and the seniors.
Right.
We occasionally will do bonded pairs, just try to help the ones that are really left behind.
Well, certainly. Now, you brought Hattie with you today.
Yep, this is little Hattie.
She's adorable. She's a Chihuahua, and she's 10.
She's 10.
Which is young for you guys, you said.
It really is.
Right.
Her human went into hospice, and unfortunately, the woman's kids took her to a kill shelter.
Oh, dear.
So we pulled her out.
Oh, poor baby.
Yeah.
So is that how you get most of your animals?
We do. We work a lot with the different kill shelters. So everyone's looking for the young, you know, fluffy puppies.
Right.
And we're looking for the little crunchy old seniors.
Oh, interesting. Or those maybe with some special needs or injuries or, you know.
And most of them have medical needs.
Yeah.
Similar to, you know, senior people. They just have special needs. And we're able to meet those needs, so we focus on them.
Wow. And you were founded in 2009.
Yes.
And why? What one day something went in your brain and you said, this is what I have to do. How did that come about?
I've always done rescue, and at one point I just decided I really want to make a difference on a much bigger level. So I took a complete leap of faith and said, this is where we're going. And we started out as a rescue. And as time went on and I saw the need in all the seniors, we just shifted our focus. Because prior to that, we would take in injured, and my mission was animals that had a 1% or less chance of surviving is who I focused on.
Wow.
So we would take critically injured, get them where they were, you know, stable again, happy, good, and we'd adopt them out.
Wow.
But I just saw all these little old dogs and animals, horses, everything being left behind. So we just shifted our focus over.
Wow. And now, how many animals do you have at your facility?
We have 64 residents.
Wow, 64. Of that, what percentages are we looking at as far as dogs? And
ironically, the lower portion is dogs.
Really?
So we've got about 29 dogs. We have horses, burros, we have 1 steer. We have some goats, some sheep, chickens. And 2 pigs. So a little bit of everything.
So it really is a farm sanctuary for sure. You've got everything there. Oh, how interesting. And of all the dogs, they're all in the senior area.
Very senior. I think our oldest is probably about 18.
Wow, that's amazing. And then your herd, we've got a great picture up of this donkey, a white donkey. That's kind of wild looking. And there's another donkey in the background. Oh, well, it looks like another one, or an old horse. You can tell by this way back. Yeah, that's the thing. You know, a lot of people, when an animal gets old, especially an animal such as a horse, yeah, what do you do with them? You know, then people go, I don't want to deal with it anymore, or
they have no use to them.
They have no use once they can't be
one.
ridden, and then what are they going to do? And of course, well, you know, so they would send them to, you know, a kill shelter or something, and that's where you come in. Now, how do you choose these specific animals? Because if you just took in every single senior and animal in need, you would be so overpopulated.
Right.
What is it, the criteria that you're looking for?
Well, we have to evaluate what our current resident population is, what their needs are, and what the needs are of the new one. We get lots of requests for intake. Mm-hmm. If we have one, if we have a bunch that have ongoing medical needs, you know, we have to evaluate. Obviously, our priority has to be our current residents first. Mm-hmm. If we're able to take one in and meet their needs completely, then we take them. Mm-hmm. Wow. So that's probably the hardest part. Mm-hmm. Is you want to say yes to everybody.
Of course.
And you just can't responsibly say yes to everybody. Mm-hmm. So
that's true. That's a good way to put that. You can't responsibly say yes to everybody. Wow.
And for us to maintain our standards, which are high, mm-hmm. we just, you know, we have to really give that a ton of consideration.
Right. And I know as an animal owner myself how expensive animals are, and that's when they're healthy. Kind of like kids, they're expensive when they're healthy, and when they're not healthy, it's even worse. How are you funded?
Through donations. We get a couple grants from private foundations, but that's another big part of what we do is constantly fundraising, mm-hmm. because it is expensive, and feeding them, because we feed, just the dogs alone probably have 13 different diets. Mm. You know, we have to, some are prescription plus all the medications, but I'd say food and medication are definitely expensive.
And how about staffing? What do you have for staffing?
Right now we have one full-time ranch hand, but our goal is to definitely, I mean, to function at the level we want to function mm-hmm. at, you really have to have a bigger paid staff. Oh. Yeah. So that's in our future.
For sure. Are you accepting volunteers at the moment?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And you're located in Camp Verde, so it's
a
nice location there, right by the river too, huh?
Right, wow. Yep, the river runs right through our property. Wow. And we're literally 10 minutes off the freeway, so we're super convenient.
Oh. What kind of things are you looking for?
In volunteers? Mm-hmm. Dependable. Animal-loving people willing to just jump in mm-hmm. and help out. Mm-hmm. is really what we're looking for. We have a lot of habitats yet to build, mm-hmm. so we're hoping to get some community support that way too.
Certainly. Yeah, and being new to the Verde Valley, you know, you're doing wonderful PR-wise as well, because I heard of you instantly, right when you got here, or even earlier, like you were coming, and I knew you were coming, and that's amazing, but getting the word out is going to be huge. AnimalGuardianNetwork.org, that's where you want to go. Great website, lots of information if you want to get involved, donate, see how everything works there, speak with Carrie, you can do it right there through that. So, you know, it always warms my heart, and especially we're talking about elderly animals and things like that. We'll be right back. We're going to take a quick break, but don't go away. We'll be right back with more Countywide.
How will Smokey deal with such a hot situation? The garden hose defense. Next, a thorough stir. Then another spray. And finally, feeling if the ashes are cool. Oh, yeah. Ah, yes, the selfie. A ritual practiced so frequently with this tribe, but not so much by Smokey Bear.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Making was a big part of the foundation of what I wanted my children to do and to have fun with.
Growing up in the Bushnell house was like Nutty Professor craziness. I know, that's true.
Getting burned on a hot glue gun, that was okay. You know, burning themselves with a soldering iron, that was okay.
I was 6 when I learned how to solder.
We learned how to paint, we learned how to sheetrock, and all these things had such lasting impact.
I felt that creativity would give them entree into being able to do anything they wanted.
Whatever we showed our dad, it was always the coolest thing in the world to him.
good ideas are very often considered silly at their onset.
And by that definition, we haven't even really grown up, you know? I mean, the projects have just gotten bigger.
We all make and have fun. Now the question is, why do you make?
Share your own Why I Make story today. Visit whyiMake.org.
Welcome back to Countywide. We're talking about the Animal Guardian Network. It is a healing ranch and farm sanctuary now located in Camp Verde, which is awesome. They've come up to the Verde Valley for some more health and wellness and bigger space, which is really super. Go to animalguardiannetwork.org. We're talking with Carrie Singer. She is the founder and executive director. We have with us a ranch guest. Do you call them guests? Do you call them residents?
We call them residents.
Residents, a ranch resident. This is Hattie. And she's a TV star now, and she's doing really well with that. Okay, so we've talked about the dogs, and we talked about Hattie's background, and of course that's a story we hear a lot, where the owner goes into hospice or something, and then what do you do with the dog? And the family's like, what do I do with this old dog? I really get that. Now let's get into the horses and the burros and the hoof stock.
We focus on auctions and kill pens. So our goal is, again, it's the same criteria. So we are looking for the ones that are probably not going to make it out of there the good way. So I'm looking for the older, injured burros and horses. We typically, most of the auctions we deal with are in Texas. So we pull them right out of there, kill pens, auctions, quarantine them in Texas, and then transport them over.
Right, the quarantine, the 30 days of quarantine must be expensive.
It is, because it's done at a veterinary hospital.
Oh, my.
But during that time, all their medical needs are taken care of. And, it's very traumatic for them.
Well, certainly.
And most every one of them come out of there with pneumonia. So if that's not treated immediately, you'll lose them.
Right. Oh, gosh, the efforts. How often are you getting new animals?
Well, we were in currently a no intake till we got settled, but that changes.
Yeah, that worked for you.
Based on the needs, so.
Sure. You've got a new fresh one within the past 24 hours.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. A
horse as well.
Little skeleton.
Yeah.
So we'll get him back in shape.
I love that the trailer is still hooked up to her truck in the parking lot. So that's dedication. She's like, I'm not going to be late. I'm bringing the trailer. So that was amazing. Now, this new space has to be incredible for you. I mean, going from less than 2 acres to over 20 in lush Verde with the river and taking all those, I can't imagine all those animals on such a small space, but now you've got everyone nice and comfortable, but you need to build some habitat and then get focused and settled into the Verde. So it's awesome that you chose this area. And the habitat obviously is much more conducive. So I can see why you saw this area. What type of habitats are you creating? What type of pens are you doing what are you doing for the animals?
Well, for the burros, that was one of the first ones, because we actually purchased this property 2 years ago. So this has been in development for 2 years. So the first thing that went in was the habitat for the burros. So in this property, there was kind of we call it sort of a canyon, a shallow canyon. It was the most biologically ideal habitat for them. So it's 4 acres, and that was amazing. So that only thing lacking there, we want to build a few shade structures. There's trees now, but it'd be nice for them to have some shade. The horses, we have them in a temporary area till we can develop theirs, and that will be huge. And our goal is to put in pastures so they're able to graze more naturally. It's just not natural to feed horses on scheduled times. So we have the farm area we'll want to put in 2, and again, pastures for everybody. So
that's great. I love that you understand the natural habitat for these particular creatures, that the burros and the donkeys are different than some of the horses, are different than the pigs, you know, for sure. And you are looking into this. What is your background?
You know, it's marketing, advertising, and graphic design.
Wow.
But I do a lot of research, and I've just been a lifelong animal lover. So I want to, as badly as I can, give them back what was taken. So that's why I want to create, and many of the burros were never out in the wild, but instinctually they know. And to create a habitat that is so perfect for them has been my goal. Just try to, not that you can erase what's happened, but I want to make their life as rich as I possibly can.
Right. One of your burro success stories is Belle. Now, if you go on the website, you'll see pictures of Belle. She showed up with a front hoof deformity that was quite severe.
2 of them. Actually, it was both of her front. She, to the estimation of the vets, she had not probably been out of a tiny pen or standing in 5 to 7 years.
Wow.
So she's about 12, and they decided to, and I have no idea how they got her in a trailer. She could not stand. And took her right over to a kill pen.
Right.
So, and what they do is the kill buyers and the people who run the pens, they'll do little videos, and they're posting them, so you're kind of seeing what's there because you can't always go there in person.
Right.
So watching them try to push her through when she could hardly walk, and it would be like you walking on your ankles. Her legs were bloody walking through there. So that's who we're looking for.
Right.
So we got her out, and she literally, my transporter and a couple other guys had to almost lift her into the trailer, and she has to lay down when she's trailered. She just...
Wow.
So,
and how's she doing now?
She's good. She's walking, and hers was the second habitat we finished. So we put in a little barn for her, and fencing and trees and the right type of footing for her. And she's walking around. It's
amazing. And she would not be here without you.
No.
She would be dead.
They determined her life was worth $180.
$180.
That was her bail that I paid.
That was her bail. You call that bail? I can understand that.
Bailed her out.
That seems a lot. $180.
By the pound.
By the pound. Wow. What's bail on a horse then?
It depends on the horse, because if you're going through the auction, I mean, there's just so many different things that they're trying to do. One of the horses that we pulled from an auction, which is a little different than a kill pen, they had him all saddled up because he was very flashy, and they run him through. What you didn't see under the saddle was the skeleton. He was 300 pounds underweight, and they were still riding him and using him for lessons.
Wow.
Yeah.
300 pounds is a very underweight horse.
Oh, yeah.
But you can hide a lot in a saddle.
Yeah, it had a flashy saddle, and you see this beautiful paint horse, and you're not noticing.
Oh my.
So, and I'm again, through video, I'm making determinations.
Right.
So he's 13, and when my transporter picked him up, she said, "Did you see this horse?" I'm like, "Well, sure, yeah." She goes, "No, did you see him?" And she said, "Without the saddle." You know, because of course they're tacking him up, but
they're hiding
they're pulling that saddle off when you're buying him.
Right, yes.
And she sent a picture, and
oh dear.
And it's funny because he's what I'm looking for.
Right.
I would have done whatever to get him, especially seeing
in that
him.
condition.
Right.
And so he was meant to be. That's amazing that you got him, and that's incredible. All right, we're going to take another quick short break. AnimalGuardianNetwork.org. We're talking about the Animal Guardian Network, Healing Ranch and Farm Sanctuary. It's in Camp Verde. We'll be right back with more Countywide, so don't go away.
This is Bruce Morrow, Transportation Manager for Cottonwood Area Transit. Remember, we cover the entire Verde Valley and Sedona. Cottonwood Area Transit has you covered wherever you want to ride in the Verde Valley, all day, every day. Take Cottonwood Area Transit through Clarkdale, Verde Village, and from 26 locations in Cottonwood. With Verde Links, it's a quick and easy trip to Sedona every day. Don't forget our connectors to Camp Verde. Visit cottonwoodaz.gov for Cottonwood Area Transit and take a seat. Let's go ride.
How I define making? In the broadest possible terms, it is making something extant in the world that didn't exist. Everybody who's ever made anything is bringing something into fruition for a reason, and that act in and of itself makes us stewards of our culture. It's something that we're talking about. It's a response. Actually, it's telling a story. That's really what it is. And I include everything that could be made: painting, sculpture, welding, all of that.
Yellow is positive.
When a kid gets their hands on the world and learns that they can make their fantasy play, that they can make their reality, that's power. And as far as I'm concerned, everyone should feel that kind of power. There we go. If there's something that interests you to bring into the world, that's fantastic. Go figure out how to do it. Go tell your own story. There it is. And so I want to know why you make. Let's go.
Share your own Why I Make story today. Visit whyimake.org.
150 over 90.
180 over 111.
160 over 110. I had a stroke.
This is what high blood pressure looks like. You might not feel its symptoms, but the results from a stroke are far from invisible or silent. If you've come off your treatment plan, get back on it, or talk with your doctor to create an exercise, diet, and medication plan that works for you. Go to loweryourhbp.org.
If I would have followed a treatment plan, I would not be in this situation.
And welcome back to Countywide. Just a few moments left. We're talking with Carrie Singer. She's the founder and executive director of the Animal Guardian Network at the Healing Ranch and Farm Sanctuary in Camp Verde. Go to animalguardiannetwork.org. Okay, so we've told you what they do. It's basically assisted living for animals that are elderly or have health issues or physically in need of something that would not lend them to being adopted out, that would not lend them to being kept alive. They would be either killed at the shelters or at the slaughterhouses or something like that, and they're ending up with you, Carrie, which is amazing. But to have all those, I mean, almost 70 animals, and now you've got all this acreage to manage, and you've got one employee, you could use a few things, I think.
We really could.
Mm-hmm.
We are in desperate need of assistance in terms of helping build the habitats. We need so much fencing, and we don't look for one person to do everything, but if we had organizations or businesses that maybe would adopt a project, you know, we can help you with the farm area, we'll fence that. I mean, that's huge. Building shade structures, absolutely huge. So we could use that help.
So not just the private citizen who wants to maybe volunteer some man hours or some dollars, but maybe a local business having expertise in those areas might want to, you know, do some volunteer work or some donation work as far as putting up things like fencing and housing and probably clearing a few things. And, you know, I'm sure you need quite a bit of stuff.
We do, and we recognize all of our supporters. We're offering naming rights and things for the different habitats. If somebody wants to sponsor a barn, whatever it is. And we currently have a barn that was donated, but we don't have anyone put it up.
Got it.
So things like that. We really need somebody with the expertise that could help us do that.
Building laborers, for sure.
Right.
And you can do the Sponsor an Animal program.
Yes, you can.
Which is
Yes,
fun.
you can. You can go on our website and choose who you want to sponsor. And a big part of that, especially if you're local or not, we have a lot of people who come in and want to come for a tour and visit, and we encourage that. You should really see who you've saved and whose life you're making different. And our doors are open for that.
That's wonderful, because that's not the case with a lot of places.
No, and you should really know where your dollars are going and how much of your dollars are going. 100% of your donation goes to them.
100%.
To maintaining their life, their enrichment, their care. And again, we invite people out. Come meet them. See how you're making a difference.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah, definitely. To actually get to see and touch and talk to the animals and things like that. That's great. For folks that maybe can't have animals and love animals, this is a great opportunity. For folks like me that have a ton of animals and can't have any more, I can adopt all these animals. This is very exciting. If you go to the website, animalguardiannetwork.org, go on the website, you can find all kinds of things. And of course, if you go on the Facebook page, that's updated all the time. If you want to donate time, money, any sort of effort, sponsor an animal, that's where you want to go, animalguardiannetwork.org. Check them out on Facebook and on Twitter. Carrie, thank you for being here.
Thanks for taking the time.
Thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for bringing Hattie. She's an absolute TV star.
She's a pro now.
That's all the time we have for Countywide. We'll see you again next time.